Hello. Today we'll begin part 2 for Before You Depart. The link for part 1 is in the description box below. So we're about to figure out what ends up happening to Maury. I didn't always. Early on, life was simple. I'm talking way early on, back before humans roamed the earth. Then it was easy, survival of the fittest, eat or be eaten. Our job was simply to take care of the spiritual remains. As time progressed, as creatures evolved, they gained intelligence. And so did we Reapers. I can't remember much of my early days, but this, Memento motioned to himself, is nothing like where I was a million years ago. But that was par for the course with evolution. Things changed, but the constants remained the same. Survival of the fittest. Dispose of the organisms that have met their end, be it as sea sponges that starved in the primordial muck, or a towering dinosaur suffocating from the debris of an asteroid. But when humans began walking the earth, everything changed. The intelligence they gained, they attained heights we could have never predicted. They crafted artwork, culture, and legacy that far exceeded any previous life form. Indeed, the world had begun to revolve around the perception of these new creatures, and so too did we Reapers need to evolve. As I said before, I can't recall months from the time before the humans. It was all primal, mindless, you could say. But soon, we grew to reflect them. Their philosophies, their desires, their bonds. The end goal was no longer to continue evolution, but rather to seek out the most fulfilling happiness an individual could experience. And perhaps as I grew to meet more humans, heard their stories, their sorrows, their joys, I believe I grew to create my own philosophies as well. I will never go away, Maury. I am fundamental to the existence of life. But Reapers change, and we evolve to fit new life forms. So what will I be like in a few thousand years? So much culture has changed in the past 1,000 years I've spent weeping humans. I've changed so much in these couple millennia. So perhaps in a million years, when humans are long extinct, what will become of this memento? I'm chipper and kind because I've grown with this sort of human experience. But when that changes, oh, you big lug. What's so funny? So, this whole song and dance we've been doing, this is just you having an existential crisis? Well, when you put it like that. So, you put me through all this bullshit to help you come to terms with death, when you are deaf? Memento chuckled. If we knew the Grim Reaper was a stupid puppy dog in need of a big head pat and a belly rub, I don't think anyone would be afraid of death. Seeing you questioning your own existence, what the hell it all means. That's like basic human philosophy. So as far as understanding our little plight, I'd say you're doing pretty well for yourself, ma'am. It is quite vexing, I must admit, all this complexity. I would be lying if I said I didn't yearn for the simplicity of the Cambrian period. I sat on the fountain edge next to Memento. But back then you couldn't get a nice belly rub. Trilobites aren't exactly the most fascinating organisms I've taken. Memento placed 2 paws on his fuzzy stomach and shook it around. But now it seems humans have a soft spot for a soft spot. So I decided to make this belly rounder so there's more surface area. It's worked quite well for me, I must say. Well, I think it looks good on you, I said as I stroked his surface. Maybe keep it for the next era. It was cool to the touch, like the opposite end of a pillow. I wanted to rest my hair on it. Memento chuckled a bit, clearly enjoying the experience. The big lug got on his back, unzipped his pants, and exposed the whole thing. You're honestly quite adorable. I try to be. It makes bringing the bad news easier for some folks. He's really adorable. His fur, his face, his stupid face. Memento peeled up at me. Your face? What about it? You look red, like a bit cherry. What? Why would I? Ugh. I burned my face in my hands. Humans do that when they're... I know. How peculiar, I must say. You humans and your proclivities never cease to amaze me. Did you ever weep, Fred? He did mention something called a death drive. Yeah, I was going to, but a woman in Algeria broke her neck while trying to clean a window, so another weeper had to go about it. From what the other weeper told me, it seems I was quite fortunate with only having ever dealt with Hegel. Memento rubbed the scruff of his thick neck. Yeah. Memento had a distant look in his eyes, and she turned away from me. I guess today took a lot out of this death deity, me as well. I looked up at the sky, brilliant hues of red and orange painted behind thick wisps of clouds. The sun was falling at a steady rate, approaching the end of the day and the end of my journey. I stroked Memento's fur, but there was a peculiar lack of reaction from him. He kept looking away from me, tilting his head the other direction. Eventually, Memento gently pushed me off his stomach as he sat down, looking troubled. Hey, are you alright? In truth, no. What's bothering you? Memento then turned his gaze to me, and I was met with a sorrowful expression, one I had never seen from the wolf until now. He looked tormented, like something was eating him from inside. Maury, how important is the truth to you? What? If the truth were to bring you more anguish than a blissful lie, wouldn't it be better than to live that lie until the end? Memento, what are you saying? All this affection, all this praise. It has only been an afternoon, and yet I feel close to you. Memento, can you get to the point? There was something wrong. I could feel it. Maury, I feel this strong burning emotion within me. Is the same guilt? Guilt? Guilty of what? Maury, I have deceived you. What? What do you mean? All this time, I thought it would make the process easier, but I couldn't help but feel this overwhelming burden on top of my shoulders as the day progressed. Memento stared up at the sky, which had become progressively darker as the sun continued its journey behind the horizon. But I believe I owe you the truth, as your friend. Maury, when I told you before that I knew what the after was, no, I was not being truthful in my statement. There's no way. What do you mean? Memento got up from the fountain and looked me in the eyes. A deep anguish was rolling within him as he selected his next words. Maury, there is no paradise. What? My jaw fell slack in shock. The world seemed to slow. Then, what lies beyond that final horizon? Nothing. Nothing. At all? Not even us weepers know. There's no trace left, not a hint. The body returns to the earth, and the spirit returns to the universe. What truly happens to your consciousness, we have no way of knowing. But in all likelihood, I don't expect anything to lie beyond that last horizon. This is the loss of me entirely, loss of consciousness itself. How could you? How could you lie to me about this? Most humans, when confronted with oblivion, it's impossible for them to truly grasp it, to begin losing themselves in their despair. Many humans indeed ponder or are even certain that there's nothing after death, but to perceive the explicit truth for me, it breaks them. I simply wanted to. To what? To alleviate the anxiety as we explored your past. So you lied to me about eternity? Because it was convenient? Maury, I was promised the greatest reprieve I could imagine. An eternity of paradise after the hell I endured on Earth. And went through all this just for you to satisfy your stupid curiosity? And what did I get in the end? Nothing, that's it. Do you immortals comprehend oblivion? Is it even possible? I'd ask you the same, can you? Whenever I picture death, I imagine eternal black, a sea of dark in which I would exist forever. But that implies consciousness. What lies beyond it sees any human's comprehension. Nothing. Pure oblivion. This piece of shit. I knew it was too good to be true. Truly, how could a deaf deity understand? Why would it? Just think I'm a fleeting little gnat. No, even less than that. I'm just a tiny blip. Even if this Reaper feels guilty 1,000 years from now, it won't have mattered. Memento will continue to exist until the end of time, perhaps until the very last life form takes its terminal breath and the universe collapses in on itself. But me, this is all I have. This is all that I am. No. No! No! I set Memento aside. You can't do this to me. I'm well and truly sorry, Maury, but there's nothing you can do. Fuck you! I ran, without a body or energy to waste. I could run as fast as I wanted and never slow down. The world was a blur, a blitz of color and light. No, he can't. He can't do this to me. It can't. It can't end this way. The life I lived, I left nothing behind but regret and suffering. I don't deserve any of this. Just, please, let me exist. Maury, you can't run. His voice came in from all directions. I couldn't tell where from. All I could do was keep running. Get away from me. I twisted around and dashed the other way. There has to be somewhere. Maury, please, don't make this harder than it needs to be. Stop following me. I have to run somewhere that's safe. He's behind me. I can feel it. The petals, they dance in the corner of my vision. I have to run. I have to get out of here. I have to escape. Please, God. Stop. Stop this at once. I told you, there was no outrunning me. This goes no further. Do you understand? Why? Why does it have to be like this? It's just how it is. It's time. It was pure silence, not a hushed murmur, but rather total, engulfing, absolute silence. The water was so still it looked solid. There was no wind to brush the flowers that dotted the landscape. No sound of birds chirping or insects buzzing. Memento offered his paw and I took it. We walked closer to the wall. It was soft, yet I felt as though no force on earth could sever its grasp. The boys were silent as we strolled across, not even the faintest thumping of wood. Silence, It was pure silence. Memento turned to me and sighed. Well, my friend, this is it. I approached the wall, brushed my hand against the petals. They danced around the tips of my fingers, but I couldn't feel them. I retracted my hand, and the petals receded in a splash of red. Looking up, the wall extended far, far into the sky. At both sides, they stretched beyond the horizon, towards infinity. You may have a seat here. You can take as long as you like. Thank you. Oh, yeah. I took a seat on the bench nearby and simply watched the petals ripple across the wall. I've had those who spent hours just staring. Time doesn't move here. It's quite beautiful, isn't it? Memento, tell me. Yes? When the last organism dies, what becomes of you? Eventually all life in the universe will be extinguished at some point, yes? When the universe collapses in on itself, heat, death, I believe it's called. I've never given that much thought. I suppose then we reapers may disappear as well. And what of before? What were you before life first sprung from carbon? Memento approached the flowers and gently produced a long, gorgeous lily from it. Its petals radiate in the deepest, most brilliant red. Its stem leaf like a silk scarf encircled his finger. Memento placed the flower in my lap. Where were you before you were born, Maury? Do you recall that? He said, staring back at me with a distant expression. You showed me a lot, Maury, more than I ever could have hoped for. I know none of this is easy, but let me impart some perspective that may comfort you. Perhaps it may help you accept what's to come. Memento sat right beside me and tenderly placed a paw on my shoulder. You went through eternity once. What's another one to you? Well, life is just an impossibly thin line between two forevers. But relative to that thin line, the experience varies wildly. We get to be wealthy beyond their wildest dreams. Some get to be wealthy beyond their wildest dreams, to control and shape the world and be read into the annals of time, remembered and celebrated for generations. Others, well, die in their 30s, miserable, alone, and forgotten. We all end up in the same place, and we all come from the same place, but that thin line will always be unequal. Some just get to be happier, and that's it. So why couldn't I have been happy? It's so unfair. Memento stood silently and stared into the wall. Perhaps it is. Perhaps that inequality is just a fundamental truth of the universe. Just as I am. I stood up and faced the wall. I think I'm ready. Are you sure? There's still time to. Memento, please. Memento bit his lip and bit an expression before stepping aside, allowing me to approach. Time felt as though it had slowed to a crawl. One step, 2 step, 3. My nose was now grazing the petals of the wall. They danced and flickered in and out, as if assuring me that everything would be fine, that everything would be okay. No smell, no sensation, nothing. I took one last breath and... Wait! I felt a paw seize my hand firmly. Wait just one moment. Memento? I felt a pair of cool, fuzzy arms wrap around me. I'm sorry, Maury. Was he sobbing? I'm so sorry for everything. that you had to live like that, that you had to die like that. All this, it's so unfair. Why? Why do you have to suffer? Sorry, Maury. Was he sobbing? I'm so sorry for everything. That you had to live like that. That you had to die like that. All of this, it's so unfair. Why? Why do you have to suffer? All this is all you get in the end. This is all that awaits you and everyone else in this world. I spent so long detached from you humans. Your lives, a foreign concept. But now, what is this? This feeling inside me. It hurts. It hurts so much. The wolf sobbed deeply into his chest. Memento. He bawled, howls piercing their silence. Why does it have to hurt? I held Memento close and rubbed the back of his head. It sucks, I know, believe me, I know more than anyone. I hate that it is, has to end this way, Memento. But you won't remember me. In 1,000 years, I'll just be another one of the bunch. It's okay. I'm just not important. No, I don't want to forget you. I don't want to forget anyone. People I've led here, their smiles, their souls. I understand now the injustice of it all. You and everyone else. I don't want forever. I don't want to change in 1,000 or 1,000,000 years to someone completely different. I don't want to not love anymore. I betrayed your trust. I deceived you. And to leave you here after everything that's happened. He's inconsolable. I never seen anyone cry so harshly. His voice hoarse with addled wailing and strings of tears that splattered the ground. Just let me go. You can forget all about this. Memento, I'm tired. If there's nothingness, then fine. At least it stops. You raised and dashed my hopes. But hey, it doesn't matter now, does it? Memento started to calm down and look towards me. I know that I must. He wiped his tears off with his tail and took a deep breath inwards. Maury, if it means anything, Memento drew closer to me. May I ask you one more thing? Just one more thing. Before you depart. What is it? Can you teach me how to dance? What? Before I knew it, the world melted around me once again. This is, what? This is, we're in space? Some white galaxies light years away. To my left, planets and moons colored purple, blue, green, and silver dance around brilliant nebulas. It was a tornado of red petals, spinning and swimming like a school of tropical fish through the sea of stars. Memento, where is this? Where the star went? Her home, her wonderful home. There were no bounds, nothing keeping me grounded. I twirled around and a plume of petals surrounded me. Memento floated up towards me, flowers now erupted from his tail. He slid a paw on my shoulder, another in hand. Like this? I looked into his eyes, radiating with wonder One last chance. One final moment. No. Like this. Memento took to the choreography quickly. Our stage, a galaxy, our audience, the stars. The memories of the waltz returned to me immediately, as though I had just practiced them yesterday. But this time, I felt confident, more fluid, more alive than any of my previous performances. Memento and I danced across the cosmos, our gazes locked into each other's. This feeling, my heart, my chest, chills fluttering, it's all so much. Is this what you humans call romance? Is this love? I simply stared at the wolf and smiled. He was certainly no Fred Astaire. His movements were sloppy and he wouldn't stop jittering. At one point, Memento tripped over my feet and we tumbled together into a pool of glimmering stars. The stars were warm and Memento's body was like a heavy blanket weighing down on me. Despite the slip-up, neither of us could shake the smiles that were plastered on our faces. We laughed together before Memento picked me up again. We continued to dance. Why can't we just fade into the stars and dance for all eternity? The waltz must end, Memento. The soul must stop. Otherwise, why would we ever cherish it? This one wonderful moment together. We progressed into the next step and the next. The time for the finale was approaching, yet we savored every moment of our dance. As we went up to the conclusion, as the final steps approached, it all stopped. Is that it? No, there's one last step. And what is that? I can hold your hand if you want. It won't make you disappear too, will it? Memento shook his head. No, nothing can. Thank you, Memento. Thank you for being with me. Memento grinned. It's what I do. It's just how I am. I simply smiled back at him and rested my hand on his chest. It was warm. For once the wolf was actually warm. We both stepped forward and plunged into the flowers. Oh, hello there. It's me, Bowser, one of the developers. The story is made for the Maywolf Furry Visual Novel Game Jam. If you have some time, please check out some of the awesome submissions made by other developers. This story was created by Team Lycorus, with 5 passionate visual novel developers who wanted to come together and create a kick-ass story for this game jam. If you like our story, please go check out the other projects we're working on. Sidus is the author of our story. He's also the author and developer of ICO. It's a 90s mega anime inspired furry VN. Arcadia drew this art. they're developing, writing, and illustrating for Hearts Faster Than Light. It's a queer, furry, space opera kinetic novel. Bowser, that's me, did the coding and programming for this project. I'm the author and developer of Chord Progressions. It's a slice of life romance VN that focuses on musical themes. Wacky made the UI. He's made the graphics for Chord Progressions, Psychic Connections, and Cleaved. Cleaved is a fantasy-inspired romance. Psychic Connections is a slice of life with a supernatural twist. And, Cleaved is a game that we've played on the channel before. And I'm aware of Psychic Connections. I don't know if I'll play that eventually or not, but last but not least, we have Kamezu, a musician. He's composed for Distant Travels, a sci-fi drama visual novel. He's also made tracks for Ocean Avenue, a slice of life sports VN. And Distant Travels is on the list of games I plan on playing, so you can expect that game to come soon. A quick special thanks to Mira, Yao, and William for being our test audience and giving us feedback. If you would like to give us feedback, we'd like to see your comments on our issue page. While you're there, please take a moment to give our game your honest rating. Ratings greatly boost our analytics and makes our project visible to more people. Thank you for taking the time to enjoy our art. This was a passion project that took a ton of time and effort. We're all incredibly proud of what we made. Please take a moment to tell someone you care about that you love them today. You never know when they'll be gone. Take care, everyone. So the flowers you see in the background, those flowers are called red spider lilies, and they are grown in Japan. These flowers are indigenous to Japan, and people in Japan associate these flowers with death or something to do with hell or something like that. It's probably the reason why the people behind this VN chose that kind of flower. So the very last thing we see is both Memento and Moe going into the forest of flowers with spider lilies. And what ends up happening to Mori is anybody's guess. So when he goes to the flowers, does he just disappear? Does Memento physically do the weeping himself behind the flowers? Does it give him some kind of capability to weep Mori? I don't know. I guess for him to weep Mori, he has to go through the flowers. I guess the flowers themselves have some kind of capability to help Memento in his power to weep Mori. So what happens when you die? This question, I think, is probably the most popular question in the human race. It's the most popular, or if not one of the most popular questions that people have thought about. Is there something else after this life is over with, or does everything just stop and that you no longer exist? Is it just truly the end of everything for you? there are many theories and beliefs people have about what happens when you die. Obviously, with the Abrahamic religions, including Christianity, people believe that you go to heaven for all of eternity, and that if you're not worthy of going to heaven, you burn in hell for all of eternity. You get tortured in a lake of fire for all of eternity. That's what the Abrahamic faith believes. And they believe that it's 100% factual, that is certain, and that anybody who doesn't believe in that is wrong. However, the fact is, we truly have no idea what happens when we die. We don't know if there's a heaven or hell, or if there's something completely different, or if we just cease to exist and just nothing happens. Now, in the Hindu faith, they believe in incarnation, that once you die, you become incarnated, and you become either someone else and you live another life, or you graduate to a higher plane of existence. And many people believe that, there's a lot of UFOs that have been happening in recent years, and some people believe that aliens who come here, if there are aliens who come in here, we don't know if they truly exist or not, but if what people see is true, and that there are aliens, or people who say that those aliens are from a higher plane of existence, and that they get to speak to you telepathically, they get to talk to you with their minds and not instead of speaking with their mouths and their voices. Who knows, maybe the aliens or incarnated, maybe the aliens were once humans who have since died and are now aliens themselves, incarnated as aliens into a higher plane of existence. And again, that's just my theory. There could be nothing out there. We could just end up dying and everything just ends. You cease to exist and your consciousness ends, and then you just don't get to experience anything. Because, while Maury died at the hospital, I think in the part where he meets Maury, where Maury meets Memento, I think Memento is the one who represents the ultimate death. First you die physically, and then you end up dying consciously. Like he takes away your consciousness, which will end up being what I call the ultimate death, in which you don't get to experience anything at all. You don't get to experience or see or hear anything at all. So that could happen, but there's just nothing happens. And while people do believe that nothing happens after death, when they get to experience it, when they die, and if they end up meeting someone similar to Memento and they tell them that, it does strike fear into them, because it's a confirmation of what they always believe, that nothing happens. after you die. And for people from the Abrahamic religions who believe there's a heaven and hell, if someone like Memento, the Grim Reaper, comes and tells them that there's no heaven or hell, that will certainly strike fear to them, and they'll even collapse in tears, because what Memento or the Grim Reaper that they're standing before ends up telling them that everything they believed is not true. So it looks like even Memento himself wonders about his existence, and the fact that he worries that he won't be able to remember Mori thousands or even millions of years from now. I mean, he'll still be around, alive, weeping people, but he'll just be someone entirely different. He feels that he won't have any memories of Mori. And he also gets to experience life. He gets to experience how humans live and their emotions and life, and that he felt detached from humanity, and now that he got I mixed up the names. I mean, I meant Memento, not Mori, but Memento. Like Memento, he wasn't able to. He never experienced a human life, and because of Mori, he's now able to understand humans better, about their lives and the pains they go through, and the happiness and the accomplishments. And because of that, towards the end, he bursts out crying, because he realizes that this whole situation for Mori is not fair. That he lived a miserable life. He never got to achieve his dreams. He had to settle for some other job and degree, and that his life was cut short at a young age. And Memento broke down in tears, knowing full well that after such a bad life, everything just ends for Mori, and he just dies after living an empty life. And that was when Memento truly empathized with Mori. I mean, he always acknowledged that what humans go through before him is a sad thing, because he always dealt with humans crying and begging him not to weep them, but his experience with Mori was a whole different type of experience. His empathy for humans went to a whole new level, and the fact that he got to live and experience what humans go through alive. And I think his experience with Mori has changed him into a more sympathetic and understanding weeper, and that I think, well, you won't ever see Mori again, but I believe with more humans coming before him, he'll be more compassionate and more, well, not compassionate, but he seemed friendly throughout the entire time he was with Mori. Memento was. He seemed to be friendly towards Memento the entire time. So I think what I meant to say is that hopefully Memento will be more understanding of the plight people have, the difficult lives they had, and as well as the strong bonds they have towards their friends and family back on Earth. And I don't think it won't change the fact that he has to weep them, but at least he'll be more understanding and why they cry and why they beg him not to weep them. I hope Maury ends up experiencing something else. I don't know, maybe he does go to the ultimate resting place. Maybe what Memento told him is true. I mean, it's not like, he lied to Maury saying that the place is real, when the fact is he doesn't know what happens to humans when they die. But hopefully Maury is now in a place that Memento described to him. Or if not, hopefully he get incarnated into a better life instead of one that he just had where he suffered and never got to achieve his dreams. Hopefully, if he does get incarnated, he'll have a full life where he's happy. He gets to achieve his dreams and be everything he hopes to be. That's why I hope Maury will get to have, and whatever comes, whatever he's experiencing now, that he's been weeped by Memento. Hopefully he has something better going on now, and that his suffering is over with. I really enjoyed this short VN. I like Memento. I like Maury. I really like Memento's personality, optimistic and friendly personality. He's just friendly to people and just try to help people in coping with the fact that they're about to go into the unknown, that they just died and may not possibly ever get to see their relatives and friends ever again. And Maury is a very relatable person, because there are many people out there who wanted a career, who wanted to be a singer or a dancer or an actor or a doctor or a voice actor, and careers like that. They just wish they had a career that they wanted to be in, but they were never allowed to have that career. They ended up getting denied for the careers that they wanted to be in, and because of that they had to settle for something they don't like. And while the careers they don't like may pay them decent, it does makes people depressed because they don't get to live life the way they want it. Unfortunately, like Maury mentioned, there is inequality in the world, and some people are just lucky to get what they want. Some people are just lucky to have the jobs they want. Some people are just lucky to have wealth and connections and powerful people and friends they know of. Some people are just lucky to be in positions of power. And most people in the world throughout history never get that kind of luck. Most people just live in poverty, or they don't get the type of career they want and just settle for something they don't like. People end up facing the wrath of their government because they spoke out against something, and the fact that the government is overbearing. So the government decides to take them out. That's what goes on in a lot of countries today. So I think there will always be inequality on Earth. We can try to at least abate it some, but there will always be inequality, unfortunately. Unfortunately, some people will not get to live life the way they want to live it. People will get rejected for careers they want to be in. People will be forced to perform obligations that others want them to, and not live out the kind of life they want, like forced marriages and all that stuff. Anyway, I really enjoyed this VN, and when I first read it, got me a little emotional. If you're watching this and you know anybody, please let them know about this VN so that they can download it on their own and play it for themselves. They'll enjoy it very much if they do. So thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.